AITA for telling my brother that his wife is right and I'm embarrassed to be related to him. My 24F brother, 28 meters, called me yesterday to back him up in a fight between him and his wife, 27F. Some background context before we begin. My brother's wife had just given birth to a son a few weeks ago. So on to what happened in their fight. My brother said he made a passing remark about how his wife's stretch marks made her look less attractive. These stretch marks are as a result of her pregnancy plus giving birth. His wife got upset and called him an asshole for making such a comment. She said that the stretch marks were as a result of bearing their child. My brother said that she couldn't blame him for not liking her stretch marks, quoting him exactly, "Who likes how stretch marks look? They're not on speaking terms now." And my brother basically called me to ask me to talk to his wife for him. I told him no, she was right. He was an insensitive asshole and that he needed to apologize to her or screw off. He said that it was unfair of me to be so unpleasant to him and that he thought I would support him since I'm his sister. I told him that right now I'm embarrassed to be related to you. He told me I was being extreme and that his feelings were deeply hurt. He called me an asshole for this and said that I was petty. And yes, I may have been a bit extreme, but am I really the asshole? NTA, but your brother sure is. I'm glad you didn't enable your brother's behavior and told it to him straight, because someone had to. His wife just spent 9 months taking on the physical and emotional toll of pregnancy. Went through labor, which is often extremely painful, and your brother is more concerned with how her stretch marks look. How shallow can you be? How shallow can you be? Insulting a woman over permanent side effects left from the ultimate act of love and expression of femininity is literally one of the most shallow things you can say. Yet somehow you still have morons like Zop's brother doing it. NTA. Wonder how many people your brother is going to try and get to take his side before it dawns on him that maybe complaining about physical alterations his wife acquired while gestating his kid is not a generally accepted thing to do. Has he always had his head this firmly lodged up his ass? Or is this a new development? Imagine your husband going around and telling everyone how you are unattractive to him for having stretch marks, basically trying to get people to gang up on you after you gave birth. NTA 100%. I can't believe he would try to use a female sibling to prove his point because he thought that would make his wife roll over. She brought life into the world. It's the most beautiful thing ever. Stretch marks and all. And like female solidarity is a thing. The chances of me getting pregnant is really low by choice and possibly medical issues. Yet to imagine birthing some man's kid and the audacity of him trying to say that my stretch marks from birthing his kids looks bad is just something else. And he's assuming all guys are like this. My ex used to trail his fingers along my stretch marks and smile. He would reminisce about the pregnancies. It made for a wholesome trip down memory lane. I don't wanna sound not all men, but I assure you there are plenty of men who still won't stand by him. Also, what kind of person has to call in reinforcement for marital issues? Dude isn't mature enough to be married, let alone a dad. Can you imagine the ducking audacity it takes to say, "Hey sis, can you do me a solid and destroy my wife's self-esteem just a teensy bit more?" Like, in what universe is he not the asshole? This is peak male fragility if I ever saw it. Be sure to tell your brother that he brought it on himself when his soon-to-be ex-wife serves him the divorce papers. NTA. Up, and thank you for sticking up for your sister-in-law. NTA. His feelings were hurt. His wife may now permanently question her appearance because of his insensitive comments. Fuck him. Stretch marks are tiger strips earned while building another human life. Also, your brother is being either super shitty or super stupid to assume you blindly support him because of your relationship. NTA. I wonder how many times he's made small remarks about her body without anyone knowing. Sounds like he's just trying to trap her. I've known plenty situations where men wait until they've had a child with a woman to reveal their true side when she is essentially trapped with him. She needs to get out of there. NTA. Is your brother intentionally this dense? He hurt his wife's feelings by making a disparaging remark, acts clueless, and then tells you that his feelings were deeply hurt by your words. NTA. You're being petty? Question mark. Has the one vocalizing how he thinks stretch marks due to carrying his child were unattractive. If anyone is petty here, it's him. Does he think women shouldn't get them? Does he think that there is really any sort of control over who gets them, or how much or anything? Question mark. He need to go and get his head surgically relocated out of his ass. I'd just suggest that you reach out to her and be some support for her if you haven't already. Sounds like she has a shitload of unnecessary added stress right after giving birth and could use someone there for her. His wife calling him an asshole did not compute, yet he feels such scorn because his sister didn't give him an attaboy he expected from a woman's perspective. Yeah, I would also be ashamed to be related someone like that. NTA. I actually think calling his brother sister for backup makes him even more tar. But you were right to side with his wife and tell him to cut it out. Although you could have phrased it better. Op is a female. So sister. NTA, sorry that you are related with a disgusting human being. NTA. Props to you for being an amazing sil. I would reach out to her. She's probably feeling horribly about herself because of your brother, and knowing she has support will make a difference. NTA, you were completely right in what you said. His wife only gave birth a few weeks ago, and even if he finds them unattractive, it was not okay for him to be so insensitive. She probably already has a bit of a complex about them herself, and if she does, then her husband has validated her own feelings about them. I felt completely unsexy and unattractive for months after I gave birth. I had an emergency C-section and have never got rid of my pouch. If my partner had ever said anything like that just after I gave birth, I would have been devastated. Those kind of remarks stay with you for a long time. Now she is going to feel so self-conscious and think her husband finds her stretch marks disgusting. The fact that your brother doesn't think he said anything wrong is worrying, and he owes her a huge apology. As a woman who gave birth and is covered in stretch marks, fuck that guy, and I hope your sil takes him through the ringer for alimony and child support. What a goddamn cruel thing to say. Most women also cannot reverse the marks fully, so that comment will likely stick with her a long time, if not ever. NTA, and thank you for standing up for her, especially if she's newly postpartum. Her mind and body are absolute chaos right now, and she needs to be supported and cared for, not criticized and called less attractive for literally making a human being. I hope the geese take your brother. NTA. I hope his wife will find a better guy, because he is an absolute asshole. Not to mention that he whined to his sister about this. Maybe someone should remind him of his own ugly parts and how it feels when you are shamed about. NTA. I don't see how this can go any other way. I assume he is a first-time dad and trying to get all his big mistakes done in the first few months of birth. Otherwise, he is really making life hard for himself. Hopefully he'll get some sleep and come to his senses on how much of a knucklehead he is being. NTA. He told his wife she was unattractive mere weeks after giving birth, and when she got upset, he thought he should call someone to help him tag team his wife's self-esteem while she is adjusting to motherhood and in the throes of postpartum hormones. He actually thought this was the way to go instead of trying to be supportive. Wow. The bar was on the ground and your brother brought a shovel, and he just keeps on digging. You are less attractive today than when we met because I put a baby inside of you. You allowed your body to change so that our baby could grow. Apostrophe. Throw that at him and see how your R of a brother reacts. Tell him he is ducking 28 years old, and part of growing is learning to have a filter for what is and isn't appropriate to say, in this case extremely kind or unkind to say. NTA. Obviously, your brother is a deluded prick. Tell your sil she's beautiful and hold her hands through the future. NTA. I too have very bad stretch marks from my first pregnancy. It destroyed my self-esteem. I still refuse to be naked in front of my husband, even though he says they are beautiful. Thank you for sticking up for your sil. NTA. Did he not notice how much her body was changing over the past 9 months? She has been through a lot, and she's not some celebrity mom who's going to bounce back to a beach body only a few weeks after giving birth. Additionally, stretch marks are often permanent. He just told his wife that he might be permanently not attracted to her. NTA. I'm a guy. I have stretch marks from when I needed some life-saving medication that had side effects like truncal obesity, moon face, etc. It caused stretch marks, and it makes me self-conscious about it. I can't get naked because people are so judgmental. If you ask help, they'll tell you to live with it. But at the same time, why did you get them and can't you get rid of it? Has definitely the yeah not. I'm 22 weeks pregnant now and I'm a little self-conscious. When I express this to my partner he says, "Thank you for doing this for us. You're beautiful," etc. Sounds like he doesn't support her. WTF is wrong with some guys? My husband just told me yesterday that I look like an ugly old mom and proceeded to yell at me for like half an hour about how I've let myself go and I don't even try to look nice and how I'm embarrassing and it's my fault. He now looks at sexy girls on Instagram and wants to cheat on me and I'm lucky he hasn't. It's been only 2 months since I gave birth to our child. I've only been cleared to start working out half a month ago. Some guys just suck. You're NTA. Your brother is a massive one. Not to give unwanted advice, but he either needs to participate in couples counseling or you need to get out. That's insane behavior and if has this horrible to you at this vulnerable time. I can't imagine the verbal abuse you get the rest of the time. Of course you are not the asshole here. Your brother is being a royal jerk. He probably knows he is, but wants someone to tell him what he did wasn't that bad. It wasn't you were right to call him on it. NTA he said something deeply hurtful to his wife, who just had their child and bears the marks of pregnancy. Something she could not help. Yes. Has an R. He only cares about his feelings and his view. His feelings are hurt. Good. Then he knows how his wife feels. And at least he can do something about it. And be less of an asshole. It's not like you can just make stretch marks disappear. NTA. As far as your brother goes, feel free to remind him that all speech is free speech. But also that words have consequences. And his consequence will be no more pussy until he grows up and figures out how not to be insensitive. NTA. But your brother definitely is. I have stretch marks from my first pregnancy and from years prior to that. I have skin that is prone to them. Either your brother is going to pull his head out of his ass and realize that he ducked up, or his wife will eventually find someone who will appreciate all she brings to a relationship. NTA. Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. My wife is extremely self-conscious about her stretch marks after 4 kids, and she wants to have surgery to tighten them up. She's very petite, so they are quite noticeable. I have told her on numerous occasions that I love her stretch marks. That those marks are the battle scars from having our 4 kids and I wouldn't have it any other way. I actually prefer them to a completely flat stomach. Ops brother is a complete a-hole for saying that to the woman has supposed to love after just pushing out the equivalent of a watermelon through her hoo-ha as a testament to their love. Ops sister-in-law married a real charmer. NTA how did him saying that even come up? Question mark. Personally I don't mind stretch marks on people at all. But sure. Let's say they are objectively less attractive than no stretch marks. Even in that case, what would have led him to randomly say so to her? Pregnancy and birth already can take such a toll mentally/emotionally/physically, and for her to go through that to have his child and then be told that she is now less attractive for it must really hurt. That's the sort of thing you don't forget. Definitely NTA. But he sure is. NTA. I don't understand people like this. It's okay to pick at your wife's body right after she gives birth. But it's not okay for your family to criticize your actual behavior. God, what a hypocrite. Tell him that if he didn't want to be criticized, he shouldn't have cast the first stone by commenting hurtful things about his wife's body without her asking for his opinion. NTA. Yeah, your still needs your support right now more than your brother does. Chances are, this isn't the first time she's heard these insensitive remarks. You look so fat lately. Whilst pregnant with his child. Your ankles are like cankles now. Again. Because of pregnancy. Why do you still look pregnant? Wondering why she hasn't snapped back to her pre-pregnancy figure yet. Your brother needs a wake-up call. And your still needs a friendly ear. He needs to know that mocking someone who is recovering from a pregnancy is a massive move. Ask him if he wants her to be making fun of him when he's sick. Ugh, you are so disgusting right now. Who likes the way people in the hospital look? Apostrophe. NTA. Your brother is awful. That was so cruel. You and his wife should tell how much less attractive he just became. Call his wife and tell her that stretch marks are the refrigerator out of the body. Her favorite person. Her baby. Made them just for her. It's a natural tattoo as a memory to capture a time when she got to carry him all the time. She will always be able to look at them and think about the time she was excited with anticipation of meeting her son. If nothing else, they are well-earned badges from an experience that make her a badges. Tell her this all comes from a gal with some of the most epic stretch marks I show proudly. I love stretch marks. I think they are beautiful. She is absolutely still beautiful and deserves far better than the husband she has. NTA no, he body shamed his wife after she gave birth to his child. Someone's gotta stick up for the lady who is probably stressed as duck after all that and having a newborn. He should be going out of his way to make her feel sexy right now, not slamming her stretch marks like some ignorant high schooler. NTA. What the duck? After my wife gave birth to our kid, I acted as if she was the sexiest woman alive. She knows her body isn't perfect. I know her body isn't perfect, but it's something completely out of her control that I, her husband, was 50% the cause of. Your brother needs to grovel for her virgins. If it was a bad joke that was, rightfully, badly received, it might have been a different story. But impressing on with it and trying to side you with him, he's the asshole all the way. Not the asshole. I loved my ex-wife's stretch marks. I love my girlfriend's stretch marks. They're a badge of honor. If men had to go through what women have to go through to create life, we'd die out as a species. We men, while physically stronger, are emotionally weak and have shit for pain tolerance. There's a reason the man cold exists. Your brother is a douche. I'm a woman who dated a man who was deathly afraid for me to see his body because of his stretch marks. His weight fluctuated before we met and he thought I would think he was ugly. I reassured him that I'm not like whoever made him feel that way in the past. It made me so sad that someone who seemed so confident felt like they would lose a relationship because of what was underneath his clothes. NTA and holy shit, your brother is a dick. Sure, stretch marks may not be exactly appealing, but I've never had a kid, yet I have a ton on my thighs, ass, and love handles from growing during puberty. I wasn't even overweight, just a little chubby, but yet I still managed to make a ton of money as a stripper back in my 20s. I would definitely make sure to talk to your sil and make sure she doesn't let his asshole comment affect her confidence, because it really shouldn't. I bet she can do better. His feelings are hurt. How does he think his wife feels right now? He told her that he finds her body unattractive. How did he think she was going to react to that? You are NTA. Your brother needs to pull his head out of his own ass or he will find himself all alone. With good reason. What a thoughtless comment to make about someone you're supposed to love. NTA. Why do his feelings matter, but his wife's feelings don't? Also, her feelings were hurt related to something she can't do anything about, and which were the result of bearing their child. His feelings are hurt because he was called on acting like an asshole, which he can choose to deal with immediately by apologizing and ceasing to make similar comments. NTA. Excuse my language, but Duck has deeply hurt feelings. He has to imagine how his wife felt when he said that. You weren't hard on him. You stood up for your sister-in-law, and I'm so glad you said what you said. NTA. 1. She is probably feeling really self-conscious about them, and he basically said, "You're less attractive." 2. Anyone who would say that to their wife after she just had his child is just an asshole himself, and I would also be embarrassed by the fact he said that and didn't see a problem with it. You are absolutely not the asshole. Stretch marks aren't unattractive. Beauty is in the imperfections, and especially something like that. That's a result of his wife having his child. For me, I would find her even more attractive because of the stretch marks. But even if he does find them unattractive, that's a thought he should have kept to his damn self. Sounds to me like an immature little boy that wasn't ready for marriage. He's the asshole, not you. And kudos to you for giving him the straight shit and not sugarcoating it. NTA. He needs to sit and stew in that shit for a while. You made him feel exactly how he made his wife feel, embarrassed and unwanted. Giving birth is traumatic and it's bad enough she has to go through that. Now she has to have a complex about her body for the rest of her life because her husband made her feel like she's damaged goods now that she gave birth to their child. Her husband is supposed to be her safe space. Shame on him for having an archaic view of a woman's body. Honestly, your still deserves better. And thank you for sticking up for her. NTA, my ex-husband made me super self-conscious about my stretch marks. I gave him 3 kids and the dude had stretch marks as well. It was only after the 3rd he decided to make me feel this way. I still feel self-conscious about my weight and stretch marks now. One I can change, the other I can't. The only thing I could do was remember each mark came from one of my little monsters that I love dearly. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.